Okay, here you go, viewers. This is Peter again. Basically, this is officially segment 3, part 2 of segment 3 of the rock. My last episode I did got confused. That was actually part 2 of segment 2. So this is actual part 3 of segment 2 of this project. So this is that triangle rock I last did a video on the kitchen bench showing how much I carved out back then. I've now finished doing some more carving out. As you can see, it took quite a chunk out of this rock. It's actually a lot lighter now. A lot of people, I've had some questions being asked to me through friends of mine on Gumtree and such, just with these rocks, you know, are they very weighty for your tanks? Funnily enough, they're not. When you're taking out this sort of volume of rock of this size, it's surprisingly unbelievable actually just how light it is. I sort of a little bit at first when started doing this was like, wow, this is so much lighter. So on that note, weight isn't an issue, providing that you are using quality made tanks as such. Back to where we are here is, I'm just going to show some viewers that might not be aware of the art of doing a bit of stonemasoning and just how rock works as far as chipping it away. It works differently obviously to wood. Wood has a grain. Stone doesn't have a grain as such like wood where it all goes one way. Stone, in my opinion, from what I've worked with stone, it's more as you get used to looking at the stone, the quality of the sand, limestone and the hardened limestone, you get different grades of, as I'm going deeper, for example, mentioning grades, it's getting quite harder down in this middle area, and to chisel out this to make it deeper, because as you can see when I turn it over, it's relatively quite deep, but I really want to make that, nice little cove entrance there nice and deep, so they can really, and not forgetting that this will be on gravel or sand in a lot of aquariums, so that they can also burrow the central middle part out themselves even deeper. But to achieve what I'm trying to do is I'm just going to show you a tip when you're trying to carve out such a large volume of limestone without cracking and breaking these three pillars, which are your base stands of the rock. For example, if I get this chisel and I just do a faint line going down here, and if I do one over here in this corner here, following the contour of that edge. Okay, so basically by using the corner of the chisel, this is what you want to do to break up large chunks like this. Is you'll notice if you look there, I've got a brush as well. So when you're doing this, just brush it off. But you can see these lines that I've created going down here. What this does is when I get the chisel and I, for example, hit at the base of here, this is going to break this chunk away a lot easier by creating these lines. Same thing with here, is when I chisel away at this piece here, this line is telling the rock where I want it to break away from. This is basically giving its border guidelines of saying, hey, I just want this piece out, I don't want the rest of this breaking off or as such. So these are ways you can try and control natural disasters from happening. Probably a stonemason hobbyist's worst nightmare is this rock breaking in half at any point. Just on that note, I want to note to you guys why I'm using a wooden bench, and it's made of very thin plywood, probably about 10mm thick, and it's flexible, is because when I'm smacking this rock with this chisel, if you were to do this on a hard surface like concrete, you'd have greater chances of this rock splitting in half while you're working with it, especially giving it the beltings that I've been giving it. As I'm smacking it, the table's basically bowing as I'm hitting the rock, so it's actually helping this this project. Using a table like this, don't use hard surfaces. You'll find your rocks have a greater chance of cracking in half because there's no give in the base of your work area. On that note, the next video I'll be doing on this segment which will be part 4 and final completion of this rock, I'll be posting very shortly.